for a year, and it was fine, but it ain't like coming home.
That's right. You come home, you say. You're still working out at Riverside Book and Bible?
Yes, I work out there, and there's certain things I can do, and the fact that I have so many friends, China, Japan, all of Europe. I have friends in all the islands, all of Canada, and just the fact that I'm there helps.
You bet. You bet. A lot of friendships build up over the years.
Yeah.
Riverside Book and Bible kind of got its start out of the basement of your house, and then you went out, and as I remember, we had a big party when you bought the Marcon Ballroom. Was that right?
It started out at the basement of the house, and then right across from where you condemned that house, right in there, that was where I moved the first time.
Okay, we want to say the city condemned the house,
yeah.
Not me. Okay, go ahead.
Then from there I moved over on the east side.
All right.
No, wait a minute. I moved where Fitz's bookstore used to be.
Yeah.
Where the old Tombstone place was. And then I moved over on the east side. And then Bert Jakes come along and sold me the Marcon Ballroom. And that's been a beautiful place.
Yes, it has.
And then we bought the shopping center. Then we bought 25 acres in the, and I'll tell you another thing that happened. Fleming Revell is 118 years old. They're in Old Tapley, New Jersey. They were looking for somebody to ship books for them. They looked and they looked and they investigated all the companies, and they was a year doing it. And finally they came, where did they go? They came to Iowa Falls, to Riverside Book and Bible House. And now that's that building over there on the, in the
Industrial Park.
Yeah, Industrial Park.
Right.
And that alone was a good recommendation, because they thoroughly investigated all the other jobbers. And don't think we don't have competition. We have worlds and worlds of competition, just like anything else. And I'm going to stay with them until I'm not valuable anymore. But I enjoy it, and like I say, I come home, and it's nice to come to my home here.
Okay.
You see all the awards I won in here.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, the Bible company started kind of out of your basement, and then you went to the store downtown, and you sold books out of that, and then you went to the east side, and then went on out to the Marcon. You built the company up at the Marcon, and then finally you sold the company off to a major investor. Is that?
Yeah, we sold the company about 1988, and before that I bought the World Publishing Company, and so we're a publisher as well as we're a jobber. We sell Bibles of all the publishers, and I imagine there's 40 or 50 companies that we buy of. And then we have our own company, and that's the World Publishing Company, and they're having a meeting right now. In fact, they've been meeting this week, planning for the future. And we have a lot of high-priced people working now, and I guess it's all right. And of course, we're all computerized now, and I never used a computer. In fact, I still don't understand them. But they have, well, if I was going to go in anything else, I would go into glasses, because people are going to be blind. In a few more years, they'll all be blind.
Okay. Any idea, what does the company, how much business a year do you do out there?
Well, in 1908, we did 34 million. And we made money because Alan was working for me, and I had the family there. And
that was
when we needed boxes.
1980. Okay, you made 34 million in 1980.
Yeah,
okay.
about in 1988 is when we sold the company. And if I remember right, we did 34 million that year, and I advocated we do between 40 and 50 million in a few more years. And I think we haven't quite did that. But we sold the company, and we got a huge amount of money. And of course, all that money has been distributed to my family. And then, of course, Betty is going to be taken care of too. And Linda, I have to take care of my 2 kids. I just sent $5,000 to Emily because she's going to go to Mexico City, I think. She was going to Brazil, but I think they decided to send her to Yucatan or in Mexico City. And I was at the, in 1952, I went to the Rotary International in Mexico City, and I enjoyed it very much. I met people there that I'll be friends all my life.
Yeah, that's terrific. Okay, does anybody still work out there? You work out there. Is Ida still out there, or Alan, or anybody working at Riverside?
No, there's none of the family there anymore. I'm the only one that stayed on.
Okay, but Paul Shepard is out there.
Yeah, well, Paul married my granddaughter.
Okay, and he's still
so
out
that
there.
You might say that's part of the family.
All right.
And Paul is doing a pretty good job. He does a lot of traveling. He's not home very much. In fact, he's gone now. I think he's in New York or Boston, and then he's going down to if I remember right, I think he's going down to, well, I'm not sure. I think Nashville, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, he's also taken an active part in the community. He's on the city council, too.
Yes, he is. I'm surprised, and that's good.
Yeah.
Because I've always, don't matter how much I've traveled, I've always lived in Iowa Falls. I've always boosted Iowa Falls. I've been a member of the Chamber of Commerce. In fact, I was president 1 year, and I've been on the board of directors 2 different years. I was in the planning commission, and I've always tried to be active in my local community, and that's very important to me.
Well, I think I worked with you for 8 years on the city council, and I worked with you on the chamber and River Bend Rally and everything, and you've done a great job. You've been a big asset to the community.
Yeah. Well, you know, you were my boy when I began to slip, and I knew that I couldn't hear anymore. I couldn't get the reaction from the crowd. Then I asked you to come and help, and that was between you and me. And you came, and you've done an excellent job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you bet you have.
Had a good teacher.
Huh?
Had a good teacher.
Oh, you...
All right.
Well, I'm not too sure about that.
I'd like to talk a little bit about your political views. Last time you voted for a presidential election, whom did you vote for?
I've always been a Republican all my life. I voted for every Republican. There's only one Democrat I've ever voted for, and that's Leo Knight.
Okay.
Leo Knight is somewhere down around New Providence or somewhere in there.
Well, he moved to Iowa Falls. He ran the butcher shop here. He had a butcher.
But I kind of liked him, and I think he sold books for me 1 year. I'm not sure. Most everybody has sold books for me.
He was the only Democrat you ever voted for. He was supervisor. He ran for supervisor.
I just hope we get a good man. I don't care who wins. Of course, I don't vote anymore. I quit voting.
Okay. But when you were younger, politics was pretty important, right?
Well, I was a member of the Republican Party, and I've always been very active in it, and I still contribute. But I'm giving up that now. When I get the Republican Party from Des Moines, Republican Party from Washington, they all want money, 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 money. I write them back and tell them I'm sick and my wife is sick, and I said I've done all I can do, and God bless you. I said I'll pray for you.
All righty. They're on their own now, right? Okay. You enjoy traveling? You don't do much traveling anymore, or you still do some traveling?
Who?
You still travel a little bit, or you stick pretty close to Iowa Falls?
Well, I'll tell you, when I get through work, if it wasn't for Betty, I'm happy right here. I have the fireplace, I got the river, my whole life. And the only thing is, every house I go by, I think of something that happened there. And it is a little disadvantage sometimes. I never go by on the corner of Union and College. There's a house there where my grandfather died, and I saw him die. And I never go by that house if I don't think about him. Okay. It's funny how that stuff stays with you.
A lot of history. A lot of history.
A lot of history.
Well, that's kind of why we're here at the interview. We wanted to get some information and a lot of history from you.
Well, I'm one of the old-timers, and I enjoy life very much, and I'm a little burdened to my wife. I realize that my fact that I can't hear, but I went through the hearing aid deal so many times. I'm having a little trouble with my teeth now, and I stopped on the way down here to see Geimer, and he's locked up today.
He is.
Geimer's locked up.
Okay.
I was going to tell him I'm supposed to go to see him Friday, but I don't think I can make it.
All righty. What organizations? You're a member of Rotary Club, I know that. You've been a member of Rotary for...
Yeah, well, I've been a Rotarian for...
1920, way back.
I don't know how many years. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I was president of Rotary at one time.
You bet. Okay, I ask you a few more questions now. As of this point in time, has your life turned out as you imagined, right now, has it turned out as you imagined your life would turn out, or has it turned out different? Did you expect to be in the Bible business all your life, or?
Well, I don't think I'd be any good for anything else.
All right. Okay. What do you think's your greatest accomplishment so far?
Well, I've had so many successful experiences. I think probably coming back and starting Riverside and buying all this. I own this apartment house here. I owned a lot of property, and I would say that Riverside has been one of my greatest things. Probably one of the what I'm trying to say is one of the most satisfying things I've ever done.
All right. Yeah, that's great.
But everything built up to that.
Right.
Yeah, I had to be successful in other jobs in order to be successful in this job.
Right. How about, what was the most disappointing thing or the most frustrating thing in your life?
The most disappointing thing?
Yeah.
Well, that's a tough question.
Right. Maybe there wasn't anything.
Well,
you know?
I can't think of anything that's disappointing to me. Living alone in that hotel wasn't no fun, but at the same time I enjoyed it and made the best of it. Everything's been pretty rosy.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do you have any goals right now?
Goals?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to live another year if I could.
Okay.
They'd like to have me go to Dallas, Texas, at the CBA convention in July, and that's after the River Bend rally. And I guess I asked one of the boys. They said that Janess and one other boy is going to take care of the ski show.
Okay.
But I'd like to see that continue.
Yeah, that'd be terrific.
Yeah.
That would. What do you think will be anything in the world? Just kind of look out over the world. Do you think the world will change much? Do you think...
The world has changed.
Okay.
The people have changed. And it's just as well I don't say too much about that, because they're just... I tune in the television. It's sad to see what's happening throughout the world. I just
yeah, it's tough. It's
pretty
certainly
tough.
Different.
Yeah.
What are the most important things that you've learned about life so far?
Work.
Work.
That's the most important thing. You're happy when you're working.
Okay, that's good. That would be your philosophy of life then, wouldn't it? Work?
Well, that's right. Things don't just happen. You have to make them happen.
That's right. Does religion play a part in your life at all? Does religion play a part in your life at all?
Well, religion is very important. I'm not an overly religious man, but at the same time, I believe in in the Bible. I read it some. I don't read it every day like I should, but I've been through it so many times. And religion is, well, what we got to live for if you don't believe in Jesus.
Okay. Now we're kind of getting toward the end of the interview. I've got a few more things here. What I'd like to ask you is, would you have any advice at this time for your great-grandchildren in the area of getting an education?
You mean, do I have any advice to my grandchildren?
You bet.
Well, George don't need any advice. He's doing fine. He's sticking his neck way out, and I'm glad to see it. You don't get anywhere unless you stick your neck out a little bit, and sometimes you get it chopped off a little bit, but then it heals up. Your question was, say that again.
What advice do you have for your grandchildren or great-grandchildren about getting an education?
Well, it don't do any hurt to specialize in something. It depends on what you like. My grandchildren, well, I never thought much about it. The best thing is don't tell them what to do, but set an example. And I've tried to set an example.
All righty. What advice do you have about money?
About money? Well, money isn't important, but you can't get far without it. Yeah. I used to travel with Doc Smith, and Doc was quite a fella. I don't know if you remember him or not, but he died several years ago. And he used to fly an airplane, and he used to take me along, and because he couldn't move his head, see, so I'd have to kind of help him along a little bit. And he was wealthy, but you know, it's worth an awful lot just to feel good. Your health is very important. Money, you can get along without it, but it should be spent wisely, and I try to spend it wisely, and I want to try to take care of my grandchildren and my family, so on.
All righty. What do you think about love and marriage?
Love and marriage? Well, very important.
Yes.
You and I know that. You've got a very nice wife, and you love her, I know you do, and that's why you married her. But I do believe that you should be married if you're going to live with somebody. I don't think much of what's going on today. I don't think much of it. There's too many ways of life, too many ways of loving.
That's right. What, if your family is watching the tape, do you have any words or a personal message for all the future generations that are going to be watching this tape?
Well, for future generations, I would say America is a great country. Let's keep it great, and let's work hard, and let's try to set an example, and let's try to keep, well, I would say you can't run the world. I think sometimes there should be more different countries, and they should compete with each other and in a friendly manner. And I would just say, well,
it's a great life.
yeah, it's a great life.
All right.
If you don't weaken.
Right. Okay, we're about the end of the interview, but I'd like to ask your wife, Betty, who's been watching the interview,
Yeah.
and also Bart.
Come on over, Betty.
Do you have any comments you'd
Come
like
on.
to make? Bart?
I'd like to ask
Come on,
Earle,
honey.
why they call him King of the River.
Okay, there's a question for you. Bart's here, and Bart's worked down on this, you know, the ski show and the River Bend Rally.
Yeah.
He wants to know, why are you called King of the River?
Well, you ought to know if anybody does. I'm proud to be king of the river. I think possibly I've done as much to promote the river and Ellsworth College as anybody living here. And the only thing that the other towns don't have, they don't have the college, they don't have the river. And I'm telling you, let's keep them in the foreground, and let's keep people coming to Iowa Falls, and let's be live wire. Let's get the job done. And Love, you're doing a good job where you're at, and you keep working at it. And I'll get my hair cut once in a while.
All right, sounds great. Anything you'd like to say, Betty, or anything? Okay, this is Earle Fitz, and I'd like to shake your hand, Earle. I've enjoyed it very much.
Well,
it's been a lot of fun.
It's been fun.
And you've been a great guy for the community.
And you can't beat fun. There's only one thing better. You know what that is. Yeah, more fun.
More fun.
You
All
betcha.
right.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Earle.
Yeah.
Okay, this is George Vest, and I hope you enjoyed the interview. I sure had a lot of fun talking to Earle today. We'll see you.